Hello, hello. Okay, we are going to get this party started. Hello and happy Freedom Friday. Hello, Bailey. Hello, Crystal. Hello, Danielle. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. Carla, hello. Oh my God. Oh, I miss your face. I just actually seen your stories the last couple days and I've been, oh, so nice. And you're outside. I love it. Oh my goodness. Hello, and Miss Reese, I am sure. Okay. Guys, there's so much happening. And everybody watching the replay, just like hang on to your seats and hang with us here. I'm hoping to keep this under an hour and a half. Your girl loves to talk, but I've got a little sheet of notes. Here's what happened was there is always a theme circulating in my world, in the masterminds, the membership, and one-on-one clients. There's always a theme. And those of you that are in any of those spaces, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And coming alive in our sales is one, our biggest desires. And two, one of my gifts is to help you see what has to happen before you can do that, right? You have to come alive in the other areas in order to actually align with coming alive in your sales. But we get so fixated as business owners and going up into our literal minds that it's like, we're clenching, like, what can I do next for the next sale? And like, how and why and how and when and what and blah, blah, blah. That we're like completely zapped of our magnetism, completely zapped of our actual creative energy, zapped of what our essence, what makes us us. And that's the shit that's felt. That's the stuff that's also not felt, right? And that's where you'll have this disconnect because people are lacking that feeling of you, not from you, but of you. I'll be back for the replay. Mommy duties are calling. Amazing. Okay, so when I made note of, okay, sales alive, like that's what's coming alive in me. You guys are going to see us sharing this replay a ton because this conversation is so, so important. When it comes to when I ask myself, and I literally just wrote it on a piece of paper, what do they need? Like, these are the notes we're going off of today. This is how simple it gets to be and how alive you get to feel. And I was like, they need a conversation. We need a perspective and we need a conversation around this. I'm not creating slides for you. I'm not bringing you through like a 20-step process. I'm shifting your perspective so that you can actually see things differently. Therefore, you can do and have things differently. Let me know if that's making sense and that feels really good for you. If you're watching the replay, share this to your stories. Let me know what you are loving, what you are excited for. But one of the biggest, or not biggest, maybe the best things I did for myself was reach a point in my business where I had really beautiful success. I had the family, I had the home, I had quote unquote all of it, right? But I was lacking my essence. I was lacking my quality of life. I was lacking the parts of me that I wanted to quite literally feel alive. And that then rippled into everything else. And I didn't want anything to feel like work. I wanted everything to feel like joy and love and excitement and purpose, right? That's why you're here. That's why you started this business in the first place, right? It was you had a purpose or a mission, you desired something, likely freedom, and now you're at a place where you could feel depleted, maybe just feel really blah, your message is not feeling magnetic, you're not having consistent sales, you're all over the place in how you show up in your messaging, how you show up in your mission, and you're really reliant on you being in good vibes that day. And I think that that's also another really big theme that I see is like, oh, I'm not in the vibe today, like I can't show up. And we're going to really dissect all of that, which I'm very excited about because I feel like you're going to walk away from here having so much to say. So if you have the space this weekend, I highly recommend taking the freaking space, like provide yourself the space to create, to journal, to list all of your ideas, to actually funnel and move with the momentum that we're going to create for you today, here in this. You'll also be able to come back time and time again. We still have those of you that DM me on the daily about our 5K event, how much of a lifesaver that has been for you to watch every day. So whatever is working, come back, timestamp whatever we talk about that feels really good for you. And I invite you to ask any questions that you have as we go so I can give you specific examples. But I built my business from that point of just being like, this is not it. Like there's so much more. This is not it. And I started to create the belief on the more alive I am, the more money and more impact I will make. And the more alive I am in my life, the more alive I'll be in my mission. And when I started putting my life first instead of my life second to business, meaning like, oh, once I reach this milestone, I'll finally insert whatever. and started being like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to go spend this afternoon at the beach and put my phone on airplane mode and pour back in tomorrow with all of the beautiful things I have to say, because I actually gave myself the space to think and receive thoughts, right? I'm not waking up in the morning and be like, what could I say? Like, how do I say it? And that's the difference. That's what your audience feels or doesn't feel. So very excited about this component. What is your aliveness? And for everybody, this is gonna be so different. I'm really curious what that means for you. But to me and most of my clients, it comes with this sense of zest. I wrote zest. It's a specific feeling within you. It's that magnetism. It's that certainty, that conviction, that knowing, right? You don't have to second guess. You don't have to leave your body to go up to your mental mind and try and figure out what is alive, what is you, what is not you, what is true for you, what are other people doing so that I can, regurgitate that in my own way. No, right? That stops. It's not necessary. What is you? What is alive for you? What is alive within you? Who are you when you're alive? Like, what are those components, and how can you nourish and nurture more of that so you can bring more of that? And that's when everything begins to feel so much more magnetic. Okay. I'm so I've been playing in this extra hard this week, and I can't wait to share with you the things that have those continue to come to me. So when we were sharing about this event, which we didn't really give you guys much time, but it is here and is so timely. One of the things I had said was, let's add a 0 to the end of your monthly income, but let's do it by doing less. And there's reason for that, because when you are actually alive, you are more felt. So my content is natural from 2 weeks ago is naturally being more seen today than it was 2 weeks ago, right? I'm getting email requests to be in magazines as of this morning. None of what's happening should make sense, right? We've got new clients coming in, old clients coming, things just happen, right? Because people can feel you even when my phone's currently on airplane mode and I'm on an event for you, or I'm living my life, or I'm going to pick my kids up, whatever I'm doing. And that's what I feel like so many of us will take those opportunities. Okay, let's call it an opportunity or an invitation. And we'll spend that time and go right up into our mind. Let me know if that is a pattern of yours. It's quite human of us. Right up here. And then it's like, well, what? How? I don't know. It's not working. Blah, blah, blah. And then you just feel zapped. You're like, well, I don't want to create anything. I don't have anything to say. I don't know what to say. And these are the times where I usually invite my clients into, okay, what do you want to do today? Or what do you need to do for you today? Let's get that done. Let's go see that. Let's go feel that. Let's go be fully in that. And then let's actually do what the other parts of you also need to do. And let's do it from fullness, right? And let's see the difference that you're feeling once you get out of the mind and out of the pressure and out of the shoulds and out of the projections, and see how good it feels to come alive. So when we are truly alive is when we're truly free. That's one of my beliefs, because I see so many, obviously, clients coming to me. I'm going to go ahead and say that every single person that's going to watch this training created a business for some sort of freedom, okay? Or multiple forms. That was my case. And you feel the least alive you've ever likely felt if you're watching this. Or some part of you in your business is just like, meh, okay, I guess I'm a business owner. There is something lacking. And one of the best things that we're going to shift you on, and it's coming right up here. So get ready to timestamp or come back and rewatch this part as much as you need, or take note of what I'm about to say. The first thing I would have anybody do is see what I'm about to show you in the sense of an invitation. So I firmly and truly believe that when it comes to feeling alive in your mission and all of these things that we're talking about right now, our mission, so your business, your offer, your product, whatever you're on a mission. Regardless if you're treating people in person, treating people virtually, treating people at retreats, whether you are not treating people and more so giving them a tool or guiding them with something, you're doing it with a mission, right? I want to help people blank. That's a mission. We're going to get really into that because we're going to actually dig into your messaging, your marketing, and your sales. But your mission is your invitation. And what I mean by that is 9 times out of 10, we get again, like I said, very literal. And we've stopped living for the mission. We're now chasing the idea of an outcome. So if you know that you help people with their hormones, or you know that you help people with social media, I'm going to try and use like examples on here, with their mindset, with their gut health, with weight loss, with coming back to themselves, with expression, anything, okay? Healing from relationships, business, anything. Have you lived in that representation today? Or have you spent your entire day in your mind about your business? Have you lived the mission, or are you chasing the mission? And that's one of the biggest things. Like, I truly believe that if we end our day, okay, everything, the day is done, you're crawling into bed, maybe you've got your journal, maybe who knows, whatever you're doing. Do you have the ability to sit down and actually reflect on what you did today as a representation of what you preach, of what you do, of what mission you're on? Do you have the ability to reflect on you being the representation? And if you don't, this is, like I said, the biggest invitation you could ever have, because it will dramatically change the way that you speak and show up inside of your business forever, even as it evolves, right? My business has evolved how many times over and over again? Our mission, our message, how we show up, all the things have continuously transformed and pivoted. But if you know what your mission is and you can have clarity on that, and if you don't, obviously that's the first place I would start. The next thing is to invite yourself into that mission and actually just be the representation of it. That's felt. You guys, clients will tell me all the time, it's the fact that you're at the beach at 2 p.m. that got me. It's the fact that I watch you close your office door at 12. It's the fact that this, it's the fact that that. It's not my 15 bullet listed Canva created story slide. It's me. It's my representation. It's how you feel me, what you see me representing. And I'd be curious if, like, those of you watching live right now, like, is that true for you? What is your favorite part about watching the people you love to watch, watching the people you look up to, watching the people you align with? It's likely not the Canva slide. Like, I could be wrong, but it's likely not, right? So mass money while leaning back. Yes. Making bank from the tubby tubs. I love it. It's so, it's so true though. But here's the thing. All I did was make sure, okay, is my mission clear? What is the mission? What feels really alive? What do I represent? What do I stand for? And am I actually allowing myself to be seen and heard and highly paid behind that? I had some clients from our Freedom Society. We're going to get all into that, but we created an upgrade portal that's membership options only. So our members can upgrade into more of like a one-on-one essence with us. And we had an amazing call this week with one of our members in a one-on-one setting. And I had said, you know, she's like, I said, what are you normalizing? You know, that's the mission. One of my favorite prompts. What are you normalizing in your world? What are you taking a stand for? And we got into it in her world. And I had said, now let's add highly paid. And she's like, oh my God. Yes. Like, why didn't I think about that? So the next piece to like actually being in this and like actually becoming alive in your mission is how you see yourself in that mission. Do you see yourself as the expert who is chasing sales, or do you see yourself as the expert who is sharing her wisdom with conviction, with knowing, sharing her representation with aliveness, with invitation, with excitement, who's offering the sales, sharing the ways to work with them, and leaning back into her life once she does those things? Or are you trying to force it and push it and strategically be like, well, what all can I say and how else can I say it? Instead, recognizing that there's no trend that's going to help you be felt more unless you're alive behind it. There is no perfect 15-step strategy to posting unless you actually know what you are talking about, what feels alive for you and what you're representing. So a lot of the clients that come to us will be already experiencing some sales, right? So let's use a couple examples of, I'm going to use like the hormone space and the business space. We serve a lot of like hormone and health practitioners. And you know, sometimes they've got communities upwards 20 to 40,000 followers. And they're like, it's so hard to get a sale though. Like my community's there, it's alive, they love my reels or they love my content, but they're not buying. And I'm scrolling and I'm like, where are you? Like I could find all of this on Google. I'm bored. I'm bored out of my eyeballs. Yeah, I love seeing it because it like I resonate with the experiences, right? With the pain points or with the outcomes or whatever it is that you're sharing. I resonate with it. But where are you in that? Where is your aliveness? Where is your conviction? And this is the work that I do. Where is your ownership? Where is your knowing? These are all the components that make us really be felt in our content. And honestly, it makes content creation, in my experience, that much more simple. Because you're not like, oh my gosh, I have to create double. No, create less. But when you're creating the content, actually have some ownership with it. Have that conviction. Put your freaking shoulders back. Right? This is your mission. This isn't somebody else's. And your mission doesn't have to be a collaboration of all your favorite people's. Right? It doesn't have to be a collaboration of anybody but you, what mission you're on, what you're normalizing, what you're bringing to life, what you value, what you do, and how you represent it. 17 practitioners could do the exact same quote unquote work, but all have completely different brands around it. All have completely different feelings and essences alive within it. And they can all succeed in different ways. But 9 times out of 10, this group of practitioners, for example, is all feeding off of each other and what the other person is doing, therefore completely zapping what's actually true for them. And so the question is, what's true for you? Right? What are you normalizing in your world? What do you want to be seen and felt as? Beach, spending time with the kiddos. Yes. I love it. Hello, Caitlin, by the way. It's so, and then this is the thing, is like, I had to ask myself. So I reached a point, 3.5 years ago, where I was like, okay, how do I want to be felt? How do I want to be seen? What's alive for me? What's true for me? And then that gut check moment. Am I actually representing that? When the phone's down, am I living that? Right? How can I live that more today? I truly created an invitation for myself and made it my mission, my absolute mission, to live that and be felt as that off of the screen. And this is what comes before the sale. We want the sales. It's like, get me to the sale. Okay, cool. This is all fun and games. But like, how do I get the sale? No, I'm telling you right now how to get the sale. I'm also telling you how to get the sale and then keep that client for years to come. How to keep people in your world for years to come. Right? That's the type of relationships that you're going to be seeking. You don't want somebody who is like, oh, well, your 17-point slide that you made on Canva told me that I was going to be like rocking and rolling and have the fittest bod in 3 weeks. And like, I just need you to do that for me. No, you want somebody who's like committed to all of it, who is like feeling the zest of what you represent, who's desiring all of it, who is in it with you. And that's the easiest sales, the easiest client relationships, the most fulfilling relationships, honestly. Like, I can actually say I absolutely love every single client in my world. Nothing feels icky. Nothing feels like proving or having to save the day. We're in partnership on this mission together. And the more that you can let people come into that with you and help them understand, do we love my fingernail? Help them understand what's truly going on, what you stand for. There's no facade. There's no misalignments. It's like, hey, this is what we're doing in my world. This is the ways that we're doing it. And for the sake of helping you feel secure in this decision, let me represent it for you and live my absolute best life in my mission. That's going to be different for every one of you. Whatever you're normalizing, how can you be having the absolute time of your life in your life, living it? And that's where the downloads will come, the content will come, the offers will come, the messaging will come, the zest, the like that little bit of like oomph behind everything that you say. That's when it starts to come alive. You guys love, like, well, not you guys, but like my clients love messaging days with me. Like when we get on a call and we're able to like go deep into their messaging and their marketing for the day or an hour, and we're able to map out 30 days worth of content. And for me, that's so easy because it's so, at this point, easy for me to get into the mission with you, see what's alive for you, see what you stand for, prompt you with all of these things. And as you speak, I'm already like, there's so much content in this. And that's where a lot of you will go right up to the mental mind and spend way too much time up there. And the lack of that is what's unfortunately felt. It's that disconnect, right? Where we can read someone's post and be like, oh, I like this, but like we can't put our finger on it. Something's missing. Something's missing. Something's not there. And I'm able to go into your content and be like, oh, this. These are all good, but we have to add this, we have to add this, we have to change this, we got to change your posture. So let me know if you are loving this, if this is kind of activating you to see it slightly different. But when it comes to our clients, this is one of the biggest things. I'm like, it's really great that you have this offer. It's really great that you can share this much education, but it's obviously not creating sales. And so how can we add to it that little bit of that little bit of aliveness, right? How can you represent it your way, the way that you say you represent it, the way that you want to be normalizing it in your world for them? And at the end of the day, can you rest into the knowing like you just lived your best life as the representation for them? You didn't even have to try because it's just all aligned. It just makes sense. You're inviting those parts of you that exist off the screen forward and vice versa. There shouldn't be a crazy disconnect where you put the phone down, you're a different person. Or you will struggle to show up online. You will struggle to magnetize sales. You will struggle to magnetize lifelong client relationships because it will be felt. Invite your whole human forward and see the difference that happens. So the one client that I was giving you guys the example of, right? Tons of thousands of followers, massive email list, doing all of the content things that everyone was telling her to do. We finally showed her face, showed some personality and some ownership behind the amazing transformational offer that she had for her, like the women she works with. Boom, 30 DMs within 2 weeks. You don't have to keep running around trying to figure out what to do next. What is everybody else in the same industry as you doing? How are they doing it? Blah, blah, blah. No, you need to come alive. You need to come alive in your mission, in your certainty. You need to practice and master these components because these are the parts that come before the sale. You can't just keep fixating on sales, keep manifesting the sale. Oh my gosh, I've been manifesting 20K months for so long. It's just not happening. Okay, well, what are you doing for that to happen? Are you addressing the parts that need to be supported to have that outcome? Right? And it's, to me, like that's the actual work. And a lot of the conversations that I have with my clients, like it's a lot of these little tweaks and activations and invitations and reminders. Right? When we get disconnected or go up and spend too much time in the mental mind, and we're able to come back in and soften into, right, this is me. This is what I stand for. This is how I view it. This is how I'm normalizing it. This is what I know to be true. And I'm recognizing myself. I'm recognizing the vision. I'm recognizing what I stand for. So what are we shifting today? Definitely let me know if you guys have questions or want specific examples, but I want to shift how we do things and see things so that you can obviously have that take part in your experience. What else do we have? Yeah, I really just want you to start to see more of the energetics. We're going to talk a little bit of strategy, of course, because that's super important. And that's what holds us into the freedom that we're craving. But the biggest thing I want you to leave here feeling is refreshed, honestly, alive, and felt. So one of the first prompts I would leave you with is, how do I want to be felt going forward? How do I want to be seen going forward? What am I committed to normalizing in my world? Don't freaking worry about what the rest of the industry is doing. What's going on in your world? How can you keep plugging into your world instead of everybody else's worlds? Right? Don't open your phone, go right to the app and start scrolling everyone else's stuff. Go scroll your own stuff. Go read your own stuff. Go listen to your own stuff. And then ask yourself, is this clear? Is this clean? Is it alive? Or is it regurgitated, kind of vanilla, lacking personality, lacking me? And I can guarantee you, the moment you change that, the moment you'll realize this is suddenly landing differently with your people. They want you more than ever. You guys going into like this year, going forward into 2027, you're going to notice this is so much more relevant. We want to feel others. We want to feel connected. We want feelings, right? We want story, but we also want security. So how do we create security? We offer it, right? It's something that's felt from us. So I'm always telling my clients, like, provide that proof, give them the clarity that they need. Like, there's so many strategic ways that we bring this into our marketing and our messaging, and we obviously don't have all day to do that for everybody on here today. But one of like the phrases I'm saying a lot to clients is you have to let them borrow your security and your knowing and your safety in your process. Right? So then go like, oh, okay, I'm going to borrow hers while I find mine in whatever the work is that you guys are doing together. So that's where your representation is going to create safety for them. It's going to create that, it's again, that consistency. Think about a child. What does a child need to feel safe and secure? Are you offering these bits of and pieces to offer your audience the security that they may be needing to move forward right now, depending where they're at, depending where you're taking them? Do they feel safe enough with you to go there? Have you represented that for them? Have you given them the clarity of what that looks like, how that will look, how that will be, what's entailed, what you do, where you've been, where you've walked yourself? If you've never even served a client before, you can do this. You can create safety, but it's in your knowing. It's not in your dumping on them. It's not in your, so like, I have this offer, and if you want it, you could DM me. No, it's in like, this is the work that we do. This is exactly what I did to go from this to this. This is exactly how Sally, changed this or changed the way she viewed that. It's in the direct certainty, the knowing, the conviction, whatever word aligns with you. But I've said this on other trainings too. That has so much to do with your posture. When you're creating content, are you like, oh, I hope that this works, and I hope that this like makes somebody buy and helps people see like how good this offer is? Or are you taking the time to slow down and actually recognize yourself, recognize the work that you're doing, recognizing the power of the work that you are going to be sharing with these people that do choose to say yes and come in, and then putting your shoulders back and creating the content from that place, right? Showing up on stories and talking from that place and bringing that energy with you, that excitement, that knowing, because now you've reminded yourself, which is the work, guys. This is the behind the scenes before the sale. You've reminded yourself of the power of what you're doing. You've reminded yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. You've reminded yourself, right? It always comes back to self. You've reminded yourself of who you are, what you stand for, what you represent. So suddenly you're using different emojis. Suddenly you're like feeling zesty. Suddenly you feel alive. So therefore the words that you're saying are more felt. The emojis are more felt. It's fun. It's exciting. I want to go to your next story slide. I want to go click on your offer. Like I want to be around you more. Think about the people in your life. Think about the circles you like to go be around. Think about the energy you're naturally attracted to or wanting more of in your life. Are you being it? And that's why I firmly believe that the more alive you can be in your life and the more true you can be in your mission, the more magnetic you will be, the more sales you will get, and it won't require you always being high vibe. Your vibe has nothing to do with it. Those of you that have been following for some time know that I have gone through it in my personal life in the last almost 2 years, and my business has only scaled, right? My magnet never just disappeared, but it's because I did the work that came prior to the sale. And I stayed devoted to the work that's prior to the sale. I wasn't fixating on what perfect strategy, on, what everybody else was doing. I kept coming home to what's true for me right now. What am I standing for? What am I representing? Where do I see this going? Who am I being? And am I recognizing the power of me and what I'm able to do and what I've done and how I've done it? So we're going to go into 3 little sections here: your offers, your messaging, and your sales process. And we're not going to go crazy into it, but I want to shift your perspective on all 3 because, hello, they're vital. And they're going to be what's supporting your sales, the sales that you want, right? That aliveness that you're craving behind them, because these are the must-have foundations when you're scaling to scale and continue to scale with aliveness and less of you. Less work is the biggest piece, right? So many humans come into my world and they're like, I want to live more. I want more time back. Oh, I just want content to feel easy. Right. And then we've got clients in our masterminds or our membership, and they're like, oh my gosh, like content's flowing out of me finally. Content's never felt so easy to create. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so good behind my content. Right. Holy smokes, I just raised my prices and just sold the intensive I've been trying to sell at the old price for 4 months. These foundational pieces are so, so important. So doesn't matter if you're making 0 a month, if you're making 50,000 a month, it is time to constantly be circling back to who we are, our foundations, how we're viewing it, and keep on our own train. Not leaving the tracks to go oh my gosh, what's the word? Distract ourselves with everybody else's. So offers, I want you to think about the offer you're selling. Just think about the most current offer. What am I selling? What am I focused on selling? Okay, if it's a couple, I want you to think about one that you want to sell today. Let's make this really fun. So get that offer in your mind. If you've got like sticky notes, a piece of paper, you could write the offer down. Can you say full certainty and excitement that you feel clear on the structure and delivery of the offer and fully behind it? If I reached out to you today and was like, hey, Sally, can you tell me the details of this offer? And I'm going to feel your certainty when you tell me. Or would you be like playing small, folding your shoulders in? Like, what's the energy behind how you feel about the structure and the delivery, aka the details of your offer? Are you incredibly clear? So clarity is the next word on what this offer does, what this offer will do for me, why this offer is so valuable. This is the space where blank, what takes place. What are you normalizing? See how everything comes back to the mission again? We're always fixated on making sure we hit enough pain points or making sure, I don't even know what, we're talking to all our buyer types. But if you're clear, certain, alive, and owning the work that you do, and you're mastering this in your marketing and your storytelling, you will naturally hit so many of those points. You don't have to go up to the mental mind to get this done, to do these things. And that's where most of us will complicate it, spend way more time on creation than needed. I had a client recently, again, 20,000 followers, pretty beautiful email list. Her content was always going viral. And again, in the hormone space. And she, oh my gosh, where were we going with this? I just had a complete brain bubble. It'll come back. But that was, okay, so let's go back to that. That was the missing piece, right? So she had the offer, she had all these things, but she didn't fully align with it. And every time she shared about it, it was crickets or people would reach out, but never pull the trigger. And she was always focused, okay, well, what do I have to say? I'm like, it's not what you have to say, it's what they need to feel. So let's paint the picture for them. Let's bring them into the picture. Let's invite them into the perspectives of what happens on the other side of this, what you're normalizing in your world. Let's bring that little bit of oomph so they feel a part of something. And as soon as we did that, that's again when huge shifts happened inside of her containers. She's selling out her containers. They're restructured in a way that really align with her and align with her lifestyle. So she's not resistant to selling them. She doesn't feel like she has to keep giving more and more and more of her just to have more sales. And she feels really like on mission, on purpose. So the certainty of what the offer does, the structure feels really good and you feel really strong and certain to share that. And the next is the obsession. And this doesn't mean like, you know, high energy. Just be really intentional about how you think about the word obsession. Obsession means like, are you like, is the energy in it? Are you in it? Do you actually love the offer right now? The offer that you're trying to sell, the offer that you're going to sell today. Are you obsessed? And if you are, why are you obsessed? Tell me, I want to know these things. Share this with me. Why are you obsessed? And what will this mean for them? And if you're not obsessed, what needs to change so you can become obsessed? What do you need to see differently? What do you need to recognize so that you can become obsessed with it? I think oftentimes we're creating an offer because someone told us to create an offer, or, you know, someone said they watched a reel, read a reel, someone said that they have to create something a certain way, but then we go and create things out of alignment to our lifestyle components and desires. And it's all exists, right? It's why you always hear me say like the whole human approach. It's so important to be creating these offers that align with how you want to be living life and receiving and impacting. The next one is your messaging and marketing. So I've said this a few times now, and I want to kind of really go into examples. I told you earlier we'd get into this. Self-recognition. So I truly believe and recognize the difference in every single one of my clients when they're showing up on social media, when they've done this and when they haven't. And that's how felt this difference is. This is the energetics behind messaging and marketing. This is the energetics behind certainty and ownership and selling and doing it in a way that feels really good and really alive. So when I'm about to have a content day, let's say, for example, and I'm sitting down, strategically, I absolutely love using Preview, which is an app. You guys can DM me if you can't find it, but I love using Preview. I love using like a Google Doc and breaking it all down. And that's where we'll do a lot of our repurposing. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty parts of it, but I'm like sitting down. I'm usually really comfortable, and that's my focus. I'm not like jumping between calls and creating content. Like I'm in content creation, and I will sit down with my journal and I will recognize myself. I will recognize my mission. I will recognize like my transformations, my clients' transformations, you know, what we're focused on that week, aka like just what the ongoing theme is in all of my containers. And I'm recognizing these parts. And as I'm scripting this, and it doesn't have to be like elaborate paragraphs, you could bullet point this. You could speak it to yourself if you just refuse journaling. I know there's a few of you that don't love journaling. And one of the things I'll recommend to my clients that don't love scripting or journaling is to just voice note themselves, right? Don't worry about what it's going to sound like. Don't worry about feeling silly. Like this is for you and for the mission. That's the important component here. So self-recognizing. I'm really curious if any of you practice this right now or have ever in the past. But this is the first thing I would do when you get off this session is go into self-recognition. How do you see yourself? How you see yourself, how you see your mission, how you see it playing out, how you see the vision. Go into that. Recognize what you see, recognize what you desire, how you want to see it, how you desire it to be, what you know is true, what you're representing. No, you don't have to do all of those, by the way. I'm just like saying this out loud so you can get your own juices flowing and see what comes up for you. Once you do that, then go write something for the humans. Then go batch the content or create the content. And just see the difference. Try it for 1 week. 1 week. Full week. Every single day. Every single morning. Before you open the phone. Before you go consume anybody else's world, jump into your world a little deeper and a little deeper and a little deeper, and watch how alive you become in your world, how magnetic you become, how much momentum begins to build. I have a one-on-one client who like 3 months ago barely had a business and is now like flying with momentum right now. Yesterday, she texted me, she's like, there's actually so much good things happening in my world that I'm starting to feel overwhelmed. And naturally we go in and we break it down and we simplify and we keep moving with the momentum. But you have to jump deeper and deeper into your own world. You won't be able to do that while you're also dipping your toes over in everybody else's world. What they're sharing that day. Well, how did they do it? Well, you know, what colors did they use? Or blah, blah. What's alive for you? What's true for you? What if you were that much more of you and you allowed them to feel that much more of you? How much easier content creation would be? How much easier being yourself would be? How much easier holding that alignment would be? How much easier it would be to even just continuously keep attracting the people you want to be working with. It is like becomes such a fun feeling as you watch your community actually become a community, as you watch your humans become clients, as you watch your clients become friends. Like It just gets to be so fun. And it's all, honestly, in my opinion, a reflection of how we start to view ourselves. Because if you're creating content and you're viewing yourself as this broken, burned out coach, tell me you're not sending off that vibe when you're writing. Tell me you're not, you're telling me you're writing from a very powerful, certain place. There's no, it can't happen. It can't exist that way. Regardless if you believe in energetics or not, it like just truly can't exist. And if you think about like if you sit back and compare like two different times that you've created content, or how you've been seeing yourself lately versus how you used to, and how your content has changed just from that, you will notice it within a week. Your audience will notice it. Your sales will reflect it. Your business will reflect it. How you feel in your life will reflect it. Start seeing yourself and recognizing yourself as the person that gets to be highly paid, that gets to be fully alive, that, pardon me, gets to bring their aliveness into their work, into their mission. That doesn't need to have a disconnect. That gets to be all of it. I'm a little bit luxury, I'm a little bit bikini, and I'm a lot of bit mom. And it doesn't impact one another. But I let you into all of it. I share those components with you. Right? None of it's a disconnect. It's all true for me. It's all alive. It's all in essence or a part of who I am. The mission I'm on, what I'm normalizing, that it all gets to exist. You get to scale it all. And then comes in these conversations, because I sit here and I'm like, okay, well, what do they need to know and see differently? And it's this. It's the components before the sale. If you want the sales to come alive, you have to look at these components. You have to sit with them, you have to master them, and you have to keep moving with them. I still, to this day, I shared in the broadcast channel on Instagram the other day. If you're not in there, there's an invitation. But I shared in there the other day, this is still the work that I do. Like, you guys want to know what I do at Millions? This is what I do. This is what I'll continue to do too. Because I'm going to keep changing. My vision's going to keep changing. What I desire is going to change. As my life has done a full 180 in the last 2 years, the way I see certain situations has changed. The way that I've had to shift the vision, the way that I've had to dream bigger in other areas and kind of see other areas differently and then bring them together has changed. But the core values remain the same. And so this is the work that I do before the sale, behind the scenes. It's the things that we don't create a lot of content around, that's not talked about a lot, which is why we're having a conversation about it. So trying that, recognize yourself, recognize the mission. I'm going to guarantee you write 1 page of notes and recognizing yourself and the mission that you're on, what you're normalizing, how you see yourself. You will for sure have a content idea. You will have something to say. You will be in a place of power. Therefore, you will be attracting powerful thoughts, powerful shares, powerful stories. You should be able to read that page alone and look at it and see content in there. And be able to bring that back around to the work that you do, because now you are owning and alive in your mission. You're not shying away from it. You're not playing small in it. Right? You want your sales to come to life, so it's time to come to life in your message. It's time to come to life in your ownership. It's time to come to life, in your mission. Stop disconnecting the two. I've said for years, you are felt on and off the screen. Like, your certainty, your aliveness is felt when you're on and you're sharing content in the moment, but also when you're off. People can feel that, right? And when you're not popping on the screen, people are feeling the lack of you not being there. But when you're not alive and you're not in your certainty, that's also felt. People are like, oh, what's missed? Like, there's just something that's missing. I desire her. I desire the work that she's talking about, or what she's saying makes sense, but I just can't pull the trigger. And I guess this is what I was bringing up earlier when I was talking about the most latest hormone client that we really transferred her sales. It was specific sales. That's why she came to me, simplifying how she got sales. And this was the biggest piece. I said, your people desire your work, but they don't feel connected to you. And so I could give you 15 million content strategies, but it's honestly going to be so dependent on your mission and your audience and your personality. Honestly, we bring that's a big component we bring to life. So the best thing you could do is recognize those parts of you so that you can begin to bring them out in practice at least. If you're wanting support, you can obviously reach out about any of our containers. But that is I can guarantee I could look at anybody who is like desiring more sales at their content and pinpoint this piece amongst probably other little things, but like this is a really big one. And then we have our sales process and our sales energy. So when it comes to your sales process, something I said to a group of our six-figure coaches yesterday. See, it's so important to spend time seeing your sales process, getting to understand and feel clear on your sales process. How does sales work in your world? It does not have to be the way they work in my world or the way they work in whoever's world if you can't seem to get behind it. How do you want them to go in your world? How do you currently in this season of your life feel secure receiving sales? Right? What is supporting you to accept the sale, to feel good seeing the sale through? Are you still in a place where you're like, I feel like I want to have a conversation with them? Maybe you're ready to see how that conversation goes differently. Maybe you're ready to simplify how that conversation needs to go. And you're not just like blasting out discovery calls to the interwebs, but you're like, I want to have at least a conversation. Or maybe you're at the place where where you're like, okay, I've given them everything that I know my people need. And I've made it very clear on how they can go about getting the next steps. And that's the questions to ask ourselves. If we know that we want them a certain way, then it's the question of what do I need in place? Or what do I need to do more of? What do I need to make more clear? What do I need to make more clear and more often, right? We're constantly repeating ourselves. But how do you want sales to go in your world? Because if you're currently doing them from a set of beliefs because you've seen someone on the internet say like sales and DMs are the only way to go, or if you're currently chasing sales, meaning someone reached out 3 months ago and you still keep cold DMing them and trying to make small talk, and it's obviously feels icky for everybody involved, it's time to change that. How do you actually want to do sales? How in your power do you actually want to be? Because that will be felt and then it'll be desired. So it's funny how the energetics of self-recognition are like the underlying tone of everything we're talking about. It is like the strategy for the human behind the business. When you want to view business in this way, feeling alive, feeling neutral, right? Again, it doesn't have to be about like you're always on cloud 100 up there and like squealing from the heavens. It's that you're like, this is it. This is the truth. This is the mission. This is me. This is the offer. This is how you get it. Can't wait to see you on the other side. Putting phone down, and I'm going to go live and be the representation of all of the work that I do and everything that I stand for. Because it's my representation that I'm going to come back and reflect on to create more content for you. Right? And the sales energy. When you get a DM, are you like, ooh, freeze, avoid, right? Trying to like go into convincey when they've already brought themselves to you because of you being you. Can you go more neutrally into the conversation and invite them into the container and offering whatever they need? Okay, so if they're needing clarity, if they're needing details, if they're needing to just answer a couple of questions, can you hold your power but meet them where they're at and give them what they're asking or needing or seeking, and then continue to hold your power? This is where most will dip and drop or go up into our mental minds and spiral. So let's give a couple examples just so you can feel it in your body. Or think about your most latest sales experiences, or DMs, or however sales go in your world. If you received an application, if you received a DM, if someone DM'd you a word, if someone replied to your story, what happened when they did that? Did you go into, oh my gosh, how can I make this work? How can I make sure they buy? Or were you like, okay, cool. They're becoming ready. They've got a question. Let's answer the question. Okay, cool. We answered the question. Gosh, I can't wait to serve them when they're ready. Putting the phone down. I'm going about my day. I'm like, oh, that was so nice that they reached out and they felt safe enough to ask me that question. And now they're becoming ready. And I can't wait to serve them when they're ready. And we're still just like going about life. And then someone else reaches out and you're like, oh, hey, like, yeah, I would love to answer that question. Great question. Here's the answer. We'd love to see you inside. Let me know when you're ready. And then we're going and we're making the kids lunch. And we're like, okay, cool. That was a good morning. Like, let's make some lunch. Hey guys, let's go to the park. And we check back in later. They're like, hey, I'm in. You're like, yeah, of course you are. Okay, let's go. Or all day are you like, oh my gosh, I hope they say yes. Like, what if they don't? Like, how can I help them say yes? Like, what all can I do? Blah, 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 blah. Like, where are you going in that sales process that's making you feel unstable? That's making you feel ungrounded. That's making you feel like you're spiraling. That's making you feel like you have to overshare and overconvince instead of letting your proof and your representation do that for you. In the meantime, that's how you went about living your life that day. And this is where I want to go back to the beginning of the call when I said, like, this mission is an invitation for you to live your best life. As the mission driver of your mission, as the representation of the outcomes you talk about. So how does it feel to have healed hormones? How does it feel to be expanded? How does it feel to be saying yes to life? How does it feel to be creating content that actually sells? How does it feel to be creating the business of your dreams and also helping people create the outcomes that they desire? How does it feel to be helping moms XYZ? Because you are doing that. How does it feel to be in your life as the outcome or as the driver of this mission, service, product? What's happening today in how you lead yourself that wasn't prior to all of this work? And I think we get really disconnected there. And that's where it's like, oh, right. If I can come back into that, I can actually enjoy so much more of my day presently. And when I show up to social media, I'm actually not like in this spiraled place. I'm really calm and really neutral and really present and excited. Everybody wants to like worry about like fancy words and like keeping up with the times and trends and blah, blah, blah. And like what other mentors are doing or saying, like, no, what's true for you? What mission are you standing for? What's the offer? Who's it for? What's it do for them? And then how do you want to see the sale through? So when you're recognizing yourself, when you're recognizing the offer, then you're recognizing your sales process, meaning you're seeing it through in your mind. You're seeing it through in the paper, seeing it through on the journal. You're seeing it through on the voice note. How do sales work for you? Normalize this into your system. Get to the point where like, yeah, like this is just how it works in my world. Hey, someone reached out. Great. I know exactly what happens in my world. I'm completely neutral. I'm not dipping or wobbling or going into scarcity or attachment. I'm neutral. Hey, amazing you reach out. So this is usually how we do things in my world. If you would like to blank, what's next in your world? How is your sales sequence? What is your sales sequence? And cleaning up the energetics behind it and then seeing it through and cleaning up the actual process will be the best thing that you can do once it's time for the sale. So see how we like clean up what's all funneling people, bringing them into our world, keeping them obsessed with our world, letting them feel like they're a part of our mission in our world, and then into the sale. And this can happen in 24 hours, guys. Like someone can find your account, reach out and buy that day. It happens all of the time. But it didn't happen for me when I was robotic, when I was in my mind, when I was trying to do what everyone else was doing. Right? When content felt difficult, I always knew there was a disconnect going on. When I didn't feel creative, there was a disconnect going on. When I didn't feel present in my life, I knew that there was a disconnect going on. And that's where I believe, like, allowing yourself to view a lot of these things more simply and cleaning up your belief systems around it, and cleaning up your processes around it, and obviously having that extra guidance and support can be absolutely life-changing. Absolutely life-changing. So that's what we have in terms of this conversation. Oh my word, we were able to wrap it up in 1 hour on the dot. Hello, a miracle. I feel like I've touched on everything that I wanted to make relevant for you to sit with, to feel into, to practice. I definitely want, after you have watched this and completed this and sat with it, definitely reach out. Let me know what's going on for you, what you picked up, what your aha moments were. Yeah, like where you're taking things. Try our little challenge for the week. I would love for you to actually practice self-recognition. Who am I? How do I see myself? What am I normalizing in my world? What is the offer I have? Who is it for? What is this price? What is the sales process? And the more you can be in that, I call it the little bubble, the Candace bubble. The more I'm in my Candace bubble, the more easy it is when these little things happen because I've spent so much time there. It's so neutral in my body. It's so embodied, right? It doesn't have to be a 3-hour dance practice followed by breath work and making sure that I don't even know what else. Like it just doesn't. I spend 5 minutes with my journal every morning and sometimes every night. That's it. Sometimes we'll throw a little tapping in there when we're reading over it. Like it just doesn't have to be difficult. And that's like the biggest component I want you to understand is you can create $1 million through simplicity. You can create $1 million by being alive. You can create $1 million any freaking way you would like, but you have to see it through. You have to believe in it. You have to see yourself as that version of you, or your timeline is going to look very different when you're sitting there seeing yourself as broke and burned out or frustrated. Business is difficult. I'm not magnetic, like whatever it is. That's what you're going to continue to experience. So for 7 full days, not just 5, like 7 full days from today until next weekend, recognize yourself every day. See what ideas come up, see the content you create, see the personality come to life behind your brand, see your unapologeticness. It's like a really, anyways, see more of that come out. Just watch, right? And allow yourself time to reflect. Allow yourself time to be truly present with this conversation, with whatever you received from it. Everybody's going to receive something slightly different, but whatever you received, sit with it. I'm going to invite you, if this is like really lighting you up, this is obviously a big component to the work that we do amongst your structure, your offer creations, who you are being, how you are showing up and leading your company, your business, and your clients. So if this is something that's sparked something in you, you can reach out regarding Freedom Society or one of our masterminds if you would like to work a lot closer together. You will be seeing a lot of very exciting things coming up for the month of April, as well as we'll continue to share this. But if anybody has any questions, you can ask them in the chat. And we will get this sent off to your emails so you can watch and listen and plug into your ears and walk and whatever you are needing to support you. Okay, everybody feels good? Got what you needed? This was a blast. And I'm so proud that we kept it under an hour. Okay, this makes it so fun for you watching the replay. Thank you so much. It was lovely to be in your energy. It was lovely to have you here. Okay, have a beautiful day. I love you all.